Today in the Diz List, we discuss what we're thankful for on this special Thanksgiving edition of the Diz List podcast.
Welcome to the Diz List, the podcast that ranks everything in Walt Disney World. I'm Nick.
And I'm Rob, and welcome to episode 73, where we discuss what we're thankful for.
I'm thankful for a lot.
Yeah, me too. This could be a list of 50.
Yeah. We got to do something really fun this week.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily going to totally spoil it because our patrons know, but the regular listeners don't know. But we had a very special guest.
Yep.
And you'll have to tune in next week for it. But I have so much fun whenever we record with them.
Yes, definitely.
It's always such a blast. And, you know, we've got a lot of special things coming up. And this was like the first of those things. And it just reinvigorated me for all the things that we have coming up and that we're going to be doing.
Me too. It was just really exciting. And I feel like if I'm going to say anything more, I'm going to spoil it because
Yeah.
I'll get into specifics. But anyway, next week's episode is very special, and I'm excited about it. I know you are too.
And I'm very thankful that they took the time to do that.
Yes,
because
definitely.
they're very busy.
Oh, yeah.
So I was extremely, extremely happy with that.
Yep.
So it was a good time. So
Also part of that, we
Yeah.
had a little conversation with this person about Jollywood Nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were wrong.
We did, because last week I think we said how we kind of discussed which one we think
Yeah,
would
we were
be
like,
our
we would
preference.
go to Jollywood Nights.
Yeah, so if you're a new listener or you're thinking, what are they talking about? At Disney World, there are two different holiday parties. There's one at Hollywood Studios, which is called Jollywood Nights.
And that's brand new.
Yep. And then there's one at the Magic Kingdom that I had to ask our special guest what
Yeah.
it was called. I keep forgetting the name
It's
of it.
Mickey's Very Merry.
Okay. Well, I guess it sounds like very scary.
Yeah. Well, that's not so scary. It's the not so scary and the Mickey's. So Mickey's not so scary and Mickey's Very Merry.
Vicky's Merry
Yeah, something like that. So
Merry Very Hollywood Nights, scary.
what I will say is this: having watched all the YouTube stuff and having talked to our guest that'll be on the show next week, there's not a shot that I would choose Jollywood over Mickey's Very Merry.
Right. Yeah. And I
not-
watched some videos from Very Merry, said it right for once, and that looked fantastic.
Yeah, I think that given the circumstances of the first night, you can expect bumps. But like, here's one example of something that went wrong with Jollywood Nights. They had a ticket or a wristband distribution center inside the parks like they normally do. I've been at parties before, and they do have a distribution place inside of the park.
So you go through the turnstile, regular old
Right.
check-in.
You only need to use that if you're using it as a day guest too.
Okay.
Disney must have thought that people were going to, and it was a short party. It was shorter than Mickey's Very Merry. Disney must have thought that people were just going to go in just for the party, but there were a lot of people inside. It was a 45-minute wait at the very beginning just to get your wristband.
There's a line to get the thing for the lines.
Yeah, and the thing that bothers me about this is that Disney knows the demand for this event, right? It's not that hard. It's not that hard to put up a couple different wristband distribution centers. It really isn't that difficult. You're talking about 3 staff at those.
Well, why couldn't they do that on the fly? Like if they go, oh boy, that looks like a 45-minute wait. Okay, Susie, you go take this amount of wristbands and go over there. Okay, Jeff, you take these and go over to this spot.
Even if they did have to do it on the fly, they shouldn't have, because they should have known. That it's crazy. But the shows apparently were really good if you could get in to see them. But the lines everywhere were ridiculous.
One was everything. Nightmare Before Christmas, and I meant to ask the
I watched the
person
video
that
on
was
it. It's
there,
amazing.
where did they do it?
That is in the theater they do Frozen.
Oh.
So is that the Hyperion? Is that what they call that?
I don't know. I know where it is and where you mean. So that was special, and there was one other show. I was going to assume they did that in the Beauty and the Beast place. Yeah? Okay. That's where I figured they would do it. And quick side note, because it's related, I heard on a podcast recently that they were talking about the Little Mermaid show building. Did you hear about this at all?
No.
So the rumor is that there was mold inside that building.
Oh,
and people kept asking, why don't they reopen it? Why don't you repurpose it? I think reopening and repurposing is going to be difficult given the I don't know, alleged, we'll say that, we don't know for sure, mold issue. They may have to just, wipe that building out and start from scratch.
Well, I mean, there's mold remediation companies and stuff that they could hire.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not.
But they said that was years ago. I mean, when it closed, it might have, I'm trying to remember the story. It was a long time that I listened to it. I think it had to do with when it was closed for so long during COVID that something happened, and that's when the moisture got in there. But that's a long time ago. That's 2020. So how would they not have
I haven't heard it,
done anything since then?
Yeah. Who knows?
I don't know. and the other thing, too, is that movie just came out. That seems like it would definitely draw some people.
Maybe.
There's got to be some issue we don't know about.
Yeah. Or they're planning something. Who
Probably.
knows? But yeah, I stand corrected on Jollywood Nights. I would not go. I watched a video last night of somebody who their comment at the end of their video was, I'm really glad that I spent my own money on this because I can give you my own opinion now.
Oh, good point.
And they were like, don't spend your money on it.
Right.
So
if Disney's going to send you, that's something else.
Right. So, yeah, not a good look. Let's hope they fix it. They've got 10 more tries at it, I guess. So we'll see. We are going to head off to the halftime show. I know it was a short opening, but I want to get to the things we're thankful for.
Yeah, definitely.
And one thing we're very thankful for are our patrons.
Yep.
So I'd like to thank our patron, Brian V. So thank you, Brian, for being a loyal supporter from the beginning. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, Brian.
And we'll see you after the halftime show. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the things that we're thankful for. Some of these are Disney World related. Some of these are just Disney in general. And some of these are just, hey, we're thankful for this. And it's going to be fun.
We haven't talked about in a while.
What's that?
And I always like this, and I always like bringing this up, is when we kind of post on social media, we'll say Instagram, for example, and we post what the theme is for that week, the graphic that you do there. I think I liked it when people would post their top 5, and some people still do, and I like that too. So just a reminder, when you see this, if it's over Christmas or Christmas, oh my Lord, if it's over Thanksgiving and you're sitting there and you've had, some turkey and you're just chilling and you're feeling good.
I thought you were going to say booze.
No, well, that too. And you're just sitting there, feel free to post your top 5 because I'll be looking. I know Nick will be looking. There'll be football on, but the Bills won't be playing, so I'll be a little bit more tuned into what's going on. But go ahead and post your top 5, what you're thankful for.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have to be directly related to Disney. It can be. I mean, ours are, but maybe it's just like good food or family or it's roof over our head, whatever.
It really is important to take stock of the things in our lives that we should be thankful for. We, meaning humankind, really needs to kind of hit a reset button now and then and just kind of think, okay, this is good. Because sometimes we get caught up in all the stuff that's bad.
Yeah, and
not the good stuff.
And I take things for granted too. I just think, okay, this is just the way things are. But if I stop and just think, okay, this is really cool that this exists. And even though it's kind of a given in my daily life, like I love the fact that I'll go right into number 5. I love the fact that for my number 5, people like Ear Scouts Rob does these awesome videos for YouTube. And there's a plethora of different people. I just use that one because that's my favorite one to watch. And also like great podcasts where I learn new things about Disney, like Disney Dish with Len Testa and Jim Hill, and I could go on and list, and we could some episode if we really want to, but those are just two of my favorites to do sort of a number one and a number one within my list. But I love the fact that there's people who are covering what's going on a daily basis. I can't imagine if that didn't exist, I just think it would be much harder to kind of renew this excitement for Disney on a regular basis.
I agree.
You know, I get so excited every Monday for a podcast, and that's kind of why we like to do this as well. It gives us an opportunity to talk about it, think about Disney, even though Nick and I will have these conversations at work all the time too, but it's our chance every week to, for you as a listener to listen, or for us to kind of do this. But having these people who cover what's going on in Disney, or even the history of it, like when Jim Hill will go in a little history lesson about the history of anything, like the Aladdin ride or whatever. It's great. So I'm very thankful that exists, and that's something that I can listen to or watch for entertainment. Just kind of brings a little bit of Disney magic to me on a regular basis. And, people may have their own favorites too, and maybe we're somebody's favorite. If we are, that's so awesome. But I just figured I'd do a shout out to two of my favorite audio and my favorite video. So thanks to the people that do that. And it's not just those two. It's lots of people who will create content on a regular basis.
Well, it's hard for people like us in the Northeast, right? Because we're so far away. We want to be able to still live the magic, but we're not uprooting our families at the moment to go and live in Florida.
Yeah.
I threw in the at the moment.
Yeah. Well,
who knows? So
story for another time.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to go to, I'm going to go to my number 5, and my number 5 is something a little less existential and warm and fuzzy, because Rob had to show me up here. Just kidding. My number 5 is kind of selfish, and it's that the park pass reservation system is going away.
Yeah.
So I am excited for that. I'm thankful for it, because I just bought tickets for my trip this summer, and what I didn't have to do was decide which park am I going to on which day. That is more difficult than you think, because what if I want to eat at, let's say, Tepanetto, and I have a park pass reservation for a Wednesday at Epcot, and there's no reservations for Tepanetto on Wednesday, but there are on Tuesday, and Tuesday I was planning to go to Magic Kingdom, and I don't have a park hopper. This makes life a lot easier.
Yep, you can flip-flop.
Because if you don't have a park hopper and you make a reservation and you don't have a park pass reservation, I saw people get turned away the last time I was there.
Yeah,
and I felt bad for them, but it is what it is.
Yep.
So park pass reservations going away. I am thankful that Disney did that, because I feel like that is a sign that Disney is listening to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
That and some of the surveys that have been coming out about Genie Plus tells me that they're listening to us. And that's, not literally us. Maybe they are, but they're listening to the general community of Disney fans. So I'm excited about that, because I think that this is just one domino to fall that could signal in much more.
Yeah, you started off too saying it was a selfish one, but this is for everybody. It directly affects your trip and what you want to do, but again, you're thankful for something it's for everyone.
Yeah, I do think it's a harbinger of what's to come, so that's good.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's my number 5.
Continuing with that, my number 4 is going to be a big one, and I'm really excited and thankful that Disney is doing this, and that is the $60 billion 10-year investment. So I'm happy and I'm thankful that they are taking that money and putting it back into the parks, because there's so many things that need to be fixed and to be done. Maybe that's not where the money goes. I hope part of the money goes to fixing up things that are kind of like, let's say, Carousel of Progress. That poor hand that keeps falling off is, it's a little sad. Some of these rides need a little TLC. And then some of that money, too, can go towards new attractions, or maybe they're putting it towards a new park. Who knows? But I'm thankful that the company is looking to put a major amount of money back into the most profitable arm of the Walt Disney Company, is the parks.
And, extremely thankful that you brought this up at number 4, because it means I don't have to kind of talk about it later, because it is my number 4 actually as well.
Oh, really?
was investment in the parks. And I have to tell you, this to me is the biggest news. It's not the thing I'm most thankful for, but it's the biggest news this year is how much money. And it blew me away when you told me how much Universal's spending on Epic Universe.
Yeah.
To think 60 billion with a B, and they're spending around 4 billion. I think if you really look into it, I'm sure it's inflated above that. But either way, even if it were 10 billion, Disney's investing 60 billion. That's insane.
Yeah.
And that's a very good thing, because, you know, there's a lot of things that need to be taken care of. And I think to your point about like taking care of the stuff that needs to be taken care of, like Carousel of Progress, that's important too. You know, even just when you go and you see, you know, I love the People Mover, but it can get a little bit grimy. I don't know if you know what I mean, where people rest their elbows and stuff.
Yeah.
Like just cleaning stuff up, or who knows, maybe we'll finally get electric cars on the Tomorrowland Speedway.
Yeah, that would be great too.
Or perhaps it goes away altogether and it becomes something else. I'm here for them doing all that investment in the existing park, but I'm really, really thankful, because I think when they said that, and they said this in an earnings call too, so you can't just say stuff in an earnings. It's not the same as like
a
at
blue
D20.
sky. Hey, maybe we'll do this.
Yeah, you can't just say that like at D23 you can say that. You can't say these kinds of things in an earnings call.
Yeah.
And so when they start talking about those things, that solidifies it a little bit better. When you start getting into thinking about what's beyond Thunder Mountain and Tiana coming in, and like the investment they're making in with Country Bears, I am stoked. So I am also thankful for that. But since that's go ahead.
And the other thing too is they don't have to buy land at Walt Disney World. That land is they already own it. I mean, they have to do permits and things, but also this is an investment in parks, meaning not just Disney World. It could mean they could build something outside of New York City. They could, you know, put that money into Disneyland Paris. Like that, they didn't say specifically where. I highly doubt none of that money is going to go towards one park or another. But it's just great that there's that giant chunk of money that they can divvy up.
My guess is Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Disneyland is going to get some love. And then, Disneyland Paris, I think, is obviously one where, you know, they're already expanding stuff over there.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that's our joint number 4.
Yeah.
So that brings us to your number 3.
Yeah, number 3 is kind of a funny one. Number 3 is I am thankful for Nick for being flexible, because and this is kind of a fun one. It's a little look behind the curtain here. So we record. We have kind of a recording studio over at my house. So whenever we do the show, I don't think we've talked about this much on the show before. So this is kind of the first time we talked about it. So we have this studio set up, and you know, Nick and I will text, and he'll come over. But like, for example, today, this was on my list before this even. Yeah. We come over today, and the program that we used to record just wouldn't work. It wouldn't launch. I had to restart the computer multiple times. I kept it together. I didn't get too angry today. Sometimes I do.
Yeah, sometimes.
But I know we figured out little tricks when the program doesn't launch, and luckily one of those tricks worked today. We both have very busy schedules. There's been multiple times that you, as a listener, probably don't know, where we can't record during our normal time. So I always use the term we have to punt. A little sports reference there, and we have to punt, and we have to record at a different time and squeeze it in here or there. And you know, we have very busy schedules. Both of us do. Our kids are involved. Nick coaches. I play in the band. There's a lot going on in our lives. So thanks to Nick for being flexible with everything that goes on and everything that comes up. So I'm not going to go on too long about that one, but
you can keep talking.
You like the spotlight a little bit. That's
No.
good. But anyway, things happen, and we have to kind of pivot here and there. But I appreciate you being flexible with my insane schedule and the tech that doesn't always work. So thanks.
Well, you're not on my list, Rob. However,
well,
I can at least interject and say
you're not torturing me.
Yeah,
I'm torturing you.
I honestly am thankful for, Rob's flexibility with me too, because there are times when I can't necessarily record at the same time he can, and it does take the two of us kind of figuring stuff out. So I'm thankful for him for even like sticking with this and doing this and coming on this ride with me.
Oh, I enjoy it.
And we jointly, have to balance each other out a lot. So I am thankful for that. So even though you didn't make my list, you're certainly an honorable mention.
All right, I'll take that. I'm okay with that.
I didn't think of the list in quite the same way.
Well, you earned number 3 just because I can be a pain in the butt.
It's
all right. You can say it. Yeah, I am. Sometimes. All right, what's your 3?
My 3 is something that I have actually yet to experience since I was a kid. When in 8th grade, I've told the story on the podcast before. In 8th grade, we went on a science trip to Florida.
Oh, the half-day trip?
Yeah. We went on a science trip to Florida where we went to the Museum of Science and Industry in Tampa. And then we drove to Orlando for an overnight. And while we were in Orlando, we did one full day at SeaWorld, behind-the-scenes stuff. And then we got to do a half day at Epcot and a half day at Universal. And that half day at Epcot is my only time ever being in Epcot when it's fully open. Because it has been walls upon walls. So I am thankful for the fact that Epcot will be reopening here and opened up, and you'll be able to walk through the middle.
Yeah.
And so I'm thankful for that. And I'm fingers crossed. I'm hoping that will be true when I'm there this summer. I don't know. But I'm hoping almost all the walls will be down at that point.
What did it look like on your first family trip? Just to kind of put a timeline on it. That was what year when you went?
That was 2019. For instance, that was when they were taking down the stone out in front. They had just put up the fountain, but they hadn't removed all of the
legacy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that was all like boarded up and stuff, which also meant that your monorail, like, it was weird. Your monorail couldn't come out. Like the ramp couldn't come out there.
Huh.
So you would get on the monorail having gone through security. And when you got off that summer, you had to actually go.
So they hit reverse?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
No. You get on the monorail, right?
Yeah.
You already went through security.
Okay.
You get to Epcot.
Yep.
Okay. And you can't go what the normal off ramp is. You couldn't do. So you had to go off a different.
It goes off like kind of to the right, and then you go down that
right,
ramp
which
there.
is past security.
Yep.
But because you couldn't use that ramp, they had to move security to a different spot, which meant that the ramp that they were making you use took you to security again. You had to go back through security. So, like, not that it was a big deal, but that year we had a stroller. Like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
But I am thankful for Epcot reopening. Specifically, I'm really thankful for them giving us a walkthrough attraction. I'm even more excited now because I've seen some videos, but also that guest that we talked about in the opening, was telling us how good Disney can do the walkthrough attractions.
Right.
So I'm excited to do that, and that is something I'm thankful for, is that Epcot is finally reopening.
Now, this is interesting. Epcot's your favorite park.
Yes.
Now, I wonder if part of that is based on nostalgia with you.
No.
That was no? Okay.
No.
You just like it for what it is.
I love World Showcase. So Epcot, I really treat almost as two separate parks.
Mm-hmm.
But
you can, sure.
But like the reason I love it is World Showcase.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, now it's got the best ride on property. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's call it like it is.
Oh, definitely.
And then I love living with the land.
Those are the two most opposite rides.
But I love living with the land.
Well, I do too.
And I don't know. I love food, so I love Epcot.
Slow motion, plants, gentle rain sounds, and then full speed flying through space
with rock and roll blaring in your ears.
Oh my God!
So that's my number 3.
That's awesome. Number 2 is actually, I'll get right to it. It's everybody listening right now. I'm very thankful.
Hey, we matched up again.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
I'm just thankful of the fact that people will listen to us. You know, I'm. If you're listening to this right now, this is you specifically.
Yeah.
Thank you for just caring enough to press play, and either on your walk or your drive to work or whatever you're doing, it's cool that people like to hear us talk. You know, I think it's great.
I mean, at least someone does. Our wives don't. I'm just kidding. They're listening right now, probably.
Yeah, probably.
So my number 2 is the same, and
that's cool.
And we think before the halftime show, the halftime show is brought to you by, like, today was Brian V.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a patron.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know we talk about our Patreon, a lot, and we talk about the things you can get there, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about all the listeners, because we have a lot more listeners than just our Patreon members, and I am still floored by it, right? Because, like, I'll get messages, hey, I heard you say this on the show, just so you know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, wait, so you're a random person. I don't even know who you are.
That's great.
And you just, it's weird. It's still weird. It's still weird to me.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Well, then we meet new people, too, through doing this.
Like, I mean, I can't overstate how nice it is to, like, get messages on Instagram or on Twitter /X/ whatever they're calling it today, or Facebook, or even emails, expressing, hey, was listening, was wondering if you ever thought about this. I had somebody reach out the other day about, because of your show, I decided to book DVC rental.
Cool.
I'm a little bit worried because, like, what if somebody backs out? What's your advice? And, like, first off, the fact that they reached out to tell me they did it because of our show. And then they're like, but can you give me more advice? And I'm going to tell you, we are definitely the people that if you want that, go ahead, start a conversation. You're probably going to want to put your phone away after a while, because I will keep replying to you. I'll talk. I'll engage with you as long as you want. It's so cool. It's so much fun.
I saw a funny meme, and you may have sent this to me, honestly. It said it was a photo of somebody on their phone, and it says, person A says, hey, I'm thinking of going to Disney. Do you have any advice? And then it says, me, and then it shows the person texting back, but it shows the text message, and the actual phone is like 20 times the length of a normal phone with this giant text message on it. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's pretty much me. So, like, my friend Brian A, we'll call him, my friend Brian A, who listens, he texted me the other day, said, hey, thinking of doing a trip. Let's chat. And, we love hearing that kind of stuff too, because it's one of our favorite things to talk about.
Yeah. I mean,
not our favorite thing to talk about.
It's just the fact that people come back and listen and, like, will send comments to me. Here's what I really love. They'll send comments to me, and then they'll say, oh, I got a blister on my last trip. Thought of you guys. Like, stuff like that. Like throwbacks to, like, talking about your shoes, or little things like, I had a listener about a month ago send me a picture of, I'm not even kidding you, there were 3 condiment packets.
Oh my God.
And it was a mayonnaise, a mustard, and a ketchup. And they said, all right, which one's number 1 today? And it's like, if you get that reference,
you've gone way back in our catalog.
Yeah, you have definitely been with us from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, like,
so that reference, we had, it was a funny debate, and it came up a lot for a couple episodes. Yeah. Nick and I did, I don't even remember how it came up.
We were talking about the condiments in the
dinosaur ride.
Yeah.
And we decided to just randomly rank the 3 of them. Yeah. And it turned into this huge debate.
Yeah.
Where,
because you're wrong.
See, it's coming back now. I think I picked I picked mayo. You picked mustard.
I picked mustard.
Yeah. And neither of us picked ketchup, which was automatically controversial. Because I would say
ketchup's like 3 for me.
But I would say if you were to pull America,
here we go again.
I would say America would go with ketchup. If that would be my guess.
I would bet.
I think America would go with ketchup. But I don't know. Maybe we have to bring this poll back on our Instagram.
I'll put it up there maybe.
Well, we're going to bypass ketchup because ketchup. Well, no, let's not.
No,
let's not.
I'm going to put this.
Well,
poll.
see, because
this is straight up going on a poll now.
Well, this is stats here. I mean, you teach a stats class.
Yeah.
And
I'm not going to bypass.
Right. Don't bypass the one we automatically think is going to be number one. Let's see.
Those are the only 3 you can choose because we're talking about the ones that are in the ride.
Now, is the data automatically skewed because we have already chosen one and we're looking at the fans to pick?
Look, all I'm saying is response bias might be there.
There you go. See, that's there. Okay. That's the term I was looking for.
We'll see.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to have to find out what episode that was and tell people to go back. It was pretty funny.
It was.
And it came up a lot. We got a lot of messages about that.
I was angry with you. I was like, what?
I know. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was...
Because you rated mustard last, and you're just wrong.
Yeah, I did. I did rate it last, and I'm not wrong.
All right. So number 2, like we said, we both really are thankful for our listeners. So if literally, like Rob said, if you're hearing this, we're talking about you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. My number 1 is, like you said earlier, this one's a little bit of a personal one because this is one of those bucket list things that doesn't really seem like a bucket list thing to probably most people, but to me it was, and it was something I've wanted to do, my entire life, and that was get out to California and go to Disneyland. And I've always wanted to go to where it all began. I wanted to experience that park. So going on that trip this April was absolutely incredible. I'm thankful that we got to do it. I'm thankful that my wife agreed. It was just such a great trip, and I'm really, really thankful that I got to do that. And if I never go back, I can check that off my list that I got to do Disneyland and California Adventure, and that's honestly my number 1. And I realize it's a personal one that I put at number 1, but it really, really means a lot to me.
No,
and it doesn't
sense.
discount 2, 3, 4, or 5. They're important too. This one, as a lifelong Disney fan, and what I love about the magic in the parks, experiencing everything new for the first time was just absolutely magical. It just was, because we go to Walt Disney World over and over, and we do the things that we love, and we know what to expect, and there's not a lot of things that are new. But even though an argument can be made, well, Disneyland, there's a lot of the same things, it's still all new, and it was just so exciting for not only me, but my family just loved it so much too. So I don't want to gush too much about it, but I'm very, very thankful that I got that opportunity this year, and it actually happened. So my number 1 was getting to go to California and going to the Disneyland Resort.
I think that is a very smart choice, and the reason being is, as a Disney fan.
Yeah, that's why it's my 1.
As a Disney fan, there is a place where it all began, and that's it. I mean, I guess you could talk about Marceline, but
true.
But that's it. That's where it all started, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to kind of take that all in and take the quaintness of it in and think about this small, because it is small, this small park.
Yep.
Look what it did, and it exploded into this giant empire. And I often wonder, if that park doesn't get made, does Disney, the company, still exist? Do we get the movies? Do we get Frozen? Do we get the Lion Kings and the Toy Stories and do we get those things? And we might get those stories, but to that quality, I don't know. Yeah, without Disneyland.
That's a great what if scenario there.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I mean, the only other thing I'll say before I move on is, if you've been to Disney World and you're listening, okay, I'm going to assume the majority of the people listening have probably been to Disney World already. Maybe we have some people that are looking to go and are listening to our episodes, which has happened.
Yeah, we've
had a lot of people who've listened and they want to know more. And but if you have been to Disney World already and you haven't been, like Nick sitting next to me, it's when you go to Disney World, you would describe it as magical, right? Yeah, everything about it. Of course. There's a certain feeling that comes along with it.
Yeah.
When you go to Disneyland, it's that feeling, but I would compare it to a different color or a different flavor, or it's just as exciting, but it's a different version of exciting. So
Right.
I would imagine if people have been to Disneyland Paris, there's a great video that I would recommend on YouTube. Ear Scouts just put out. Ear Scouts Rob and Eric went to Disneyland Paris. They have an awesome video to watch, and it's interesting that they will talk about. Rob calls it, the most beautiful park.
Yeah.
And Disney World is the most magical. I don't remember what he called Disneyland. It was a good comparison, though.
Well, it's what they actually call them. It's the
most happiest place on earth.
Yeah,
right. That's it. But I think I'll just end with that is if you do get a chance to go there, you'll see what I mean. It's magic, but a different flavor or a different color. I don't know which kind of term to use to describe how it's different, but it's equally great and equally amazing in just a different way.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't experienced it yet. I look forward to the day I can.
But relatively soonish for you, right?
I would like to
within the next 3-4 years, right?
I think so. Mm-hmm. I'm not positive, but I think so.
Yeah, I kind of have that plan for Disneyland Paris. I'm thinking, okay, the next 3-4 years, be able to get out there and do that too.
My number one is kind of a big, giant, overarching topic, I guess, or umbrella, and it's the Disney fan community. But I don't necessarily mean just the listeners, but like the community within podcasting and within YouTubers. We have made some amazing friends. Katie and Aaron at Rope Drop and Park Hop.
Yeah.
Rob and Eric with Ear Scouts. We were involved in a very special fundraiser through Podcast Mics for Magic this summer that helped to raise money for the Children's Hospital of Orange County in Anaheim.
All the different travel agents that have contacted us.
Yeah, like the fact that we have this community that honestly a lot of these people would drop anything for you. If I'm in Orlando and I text Rob from Ear Scouts, hey, where are you in the parks today? Like, he's gonna get back to me and we're gonna go and hang out. Or that's a perfect example actually. So we kept missing each other on my last trip, just couldn't make it work. And then one day he's like, hey, I'm over at Magic Kingdom finishing up with something. You're staying at Bay Lake. Why don't we meet up at the Contemporary? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, sounds great. And my son really wanted to go, too. So, like, the fact that this big, to us, right?
Yeah.
YouTube guy, bigger than life to my son, right? Just like, oh, my gosh. Because YouTube to him is like what we would have thought of as like, I compare YouTube celebrities to like your local weatherman. When you were a kid and your local weatherman would come in and read you a book, you know what I mean? In elementary school, you're like, oh my gosh, somebody famous is here.
Yeah.
And while some of them are super famous, some of them aren't as big, but to a kid, everybody is. And so the fact that Rob took the time to like sit and talk with and treat him as an equal too and talk to him, those are the kinds of moments that I didn't think would happen because of this podcast. But they do now. And it's amazing. And the people we've met, the friends we've made, some of them are loyal listeners. Some of them are people that we've recorded with. Some of them are people that I never would have ever expected to talk to and interact with, let alone like have them be fans of the show.
Right.
So I'm really thankful for the community itself, the Disney fan community. The Disney fan community of adults gets a lot of crap. But
I'm a proud member of that group.
But like, I think that find a community that is so supportive of each other. Like, there's not a single podcaster I've talked to that's like, oh, my podcast is better than yours. It's like, oh, you guys are rocking it. Keep it going. Like, it's so supportive.
Yeah.
And there's not, it's a great community to be a part of. And so for me, my number one is just the fact that we're a part of the Disney fan community in general, but especially that like as a creator, like being a part of that creator community is amazing.
Yeah. And when we started this, who knew that it would get to this point? And hopefully we can grow more. I mean, it's we'd like to reach more people, but
yeah,
we're fine either way.
Yeah,
because we're just happy to do this, and
right,
and we're thankful people will tune in and listen. If you're still listening now, you're part of the you're part of the people we're thankful for.
Yeah, I mean, it like the fact that something that we talked about sitting around a fire over COVID.
Hey, we should do a podcast.
Joke and like sitting there like workshopping names.
Yeah,
and like finally just being like,
and our wives are like, "Are you guys serious about this?" And we're like, Yeah,
we're doing this.
I got a recording studio.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you've got some honorable mentions. You want to talk about any?
No, it's this kind of honestly covers everything. It covers the people that listen. It covers working with you. It covers Disney investing back into what's important. It includes something personal with my own individual trip. So it's a little bit of everything in kind of general categories all into one. So I really don't I feel like I checked all the boxes. I think maybe the only thing is thanks to my family for letting us come in and do this.
Yeah.
My family's very flexible. My wife and 2 kids are all right. Mr. Nick is coming over. We're gonna record, and they're always like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
I would thanks to my family, I guess.
Yeah, I would second that. For my family, like they know Sundays. Okay, Dad's going over to see Rob, and they're gonna record. Or like the other night, I was like, hey, can't have dinner. Usually when soccer season ends, it means that we get to have dinner together every night. Yeah. But the other night it was like, nope, going to record, and it was well worth it. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
Stay tuned for next week.
I can't wait to go back and listen.
But I would say another thing, kind of an honorable mention, is something that hasn't happened yet it has kind of, but it didn't happen this year. Something that I'm thankful for, that I certainly will be thankful for next Thanksgiving too, is the ability to share Disney. So because
with your brother and his wife.
Yeah. So because I own DVC, like it's a lot easier for me to share that, right?
Well, you did that with us.
Yeah.
I mean, we rented DVC points from you, so that counts.
True. Yeah. I mean, what I'm saying is I've done it in the past. I didn't do it this year.
Sure.
But like, I'm really looking forward to this. My brother is like he's the cool uncle, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He's the uncle that will show up with a drum set, set it up, and leave. He's that guy.
Drop off a kitten and then take off.
Yeah, kitten. A Great Dane is more his style. So it's nice to be able to like do this and share that with him. They don't have kids, so like him seeing like, because I think seeing Disney through a kid's eyes is just so magical.
Yes.
And he's been to Disney before as an adult, and loves Disney. His wife loves Disney. They've done the Run Disney events before and stuff like that. So I think going with
niece
kids,
and nephew.
Yeah, with a niece and nephew is going to be so totally different for them.
Yeah.
And I think that getting to share that is what's on my honorable mention, is sharing Disney with those I love. So
that's a good one.
But it's been a lot of fun this year, and just wanted to take a moment to, like we said, we wanted to thank everybody.
Yep.
I know that you guys have choices out there, because we listen to those choices as well. And the fact that you're listening to us really does matter.
Yeah. So thanks so much, everybody. And we have our special episode next week.
Yes.
Which we've recorded already. And
then after that is the listener lists.
Yep. So yeah, that's a good point.
That's how we're closing out the year, is with you.
Yeah. So can they still go back in, and because you did a bunch the other day? I
did a bunch of polls.
Was I supposed to vote? I may have voted.
It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you listen.
I do.
So that's fine.
Okay.
Your one vote is not going to sway a lot in that.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah, it's like a pebble in the pond.
Well, I mean, I see a poll. I want to be part of it.
So the polls, I'm not sure if you can still, like, if they're active, they're archived. I don't think you can still poll.
But you can submit an answer?
You can still submit an answer.
Okay.
And then as far as the other ones go, if you just pretend like you're sending a message on that story highlight, it comes to me the same way as your answers would have anyway.
Oh, good.
So it's easy for me to see.
So if you go back, so let's go through this here. You're on Instagram.
Yep.
You
click on our
profile,
and then the grid view.
There's the circles kind of above all of our grid view posts.
So you've got we have one highlight that's called questions. That's where you'll find this.
Great.
The questions for this show are the last, the first 5 or 6 are ones that we've asked in the past.
Skip through those.
You'll be able to tell because there's when you get to our main typical logo background and it says, the following questions are for, this is what we're doing.
Yep.
And then there's a whole bunch of those. We've got one of those highlights. We have a highlight with a bunch of our products that we love. So if you're right now, this is coming out on the day before Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah. You can do shopping.
Yeah.
You can shop for some of the things we recommend.
Yeah. I'm going to probably repost a lot of that, but if you wanted to look at it, over that weekend, certainly can. I always put those there because we have some games up there that we really enjoy, and some I put my cooler bag that I use. That's like a backpack up there. That's a Disney one. So you can check those highlights out. And there's some other highlights, but those are the 2 ones that I routinely add stuff to.
So if they're back in the highlights again, I want to go back to this one more time.
Yeah.
And they're having trouble submitting an answer for a poll or something, hit the reply button and it'll go to you.
At the bottom of the story, there's the thing that says send message.
Yeah.
Just click there. You type it, and when it shows up, shows up to me, it shows up the same way your answer would anyway.
Cool.
So it shows the slide that you're replying to, and then what your answer is.
Good. So do that, folks.
Yeah. I'm going to compile those. We're actually going to start recording those probably next week.
Yep.
So let's get out there and get those done. And I'll put a poll up today about condiments because we'll include that one. So we'll see once and for all
who the winner, who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a feeling that I'm going to lose, but that's okay.
That's okay.
So thank you so much for listening. If you want to get early access to this episode and all future episodes as well as bonus content, you can check us out over on Patreon. That's patreon.com/dislistpod. We keep talking about Instagram. That's at dislistpod over there as well. So check us out in those 2 places. You can also follow us on Twitter and YouTube, where we're also at dislistpod. So
I don't think I'm ever going to switch to calling it X. That's so weird.
It is so weird. Yeah.
It's Twitter forever.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was so good. What? I don't get. Never mind. I don't want to derail the conversation.
The former Bird app.
Yeah. So dislistpod at X or Twitter.
Yeah, and Threads and anything. You can pretty much follow us with the same thing. The only thing that's different is our email, which is dislistpodcast@gmail.com. So if you want to get in contact with us, that's how you can do that. We really appreciate you. We thank you very much for listening. But it's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Tomorrow's just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.